Morning, YouTube. Well, today I'm at a friend of mine's farm in the Adirondack Mountains, and this behind me, let me come around this side, is an old Cold War missile silo that's on his place. This would have been two doors at the top of the silo. One of them isn't all the way down, one is. I think they're 11 tons, he said. It's flooded, and someday he hopes to get it back opened up, but I can't tell you where it is. It's one of many up here from the Cold War. Plattsburgh Air Force Base was a SAC base, and up in this area, I'm not sure how many there were, he could tell you, but there's quite a few missile silos from back then. Decommissioned now. So let me show you some of the stuff around. So it's pretty cool. This would be either an air intake or vent. There's another one over here. And this, he tells me, is a mystery what that is. And so once I get down inside, maybe I can get a look at it from the inside and figure out what's going on. But this was the entrance. And I'm going to see how much I can see with my little flashlight. If I can't, well, we'll get some better shots when he brings up some lights. But let's do a little exploring. There's a blast door with a heck of a locking mechanism on this thing. And there's another one. That leads to more rusty stairs. Well, I've got my friend turned on, hooked up some lights for me, so we can actually see down in here. This was the crew's quarters. So this area with the blue tiles and all these pipes, this was probably the bathroom, and it was all framed in, studs in. There was a bunk room back over in there, and this would have been a common room. For emergency escape only, releases 4 tons of sand when opened. There used to be, hooked right in here, is a lever that went up and pulled that pin so that that door would come open, and that's where the sand would come down, and that is what that mystery thing is above. That's the escape hatch. So if you had to get out, that would be the way. Springs in the ceiling were what the light fixtures were on, and there's a big piston there. There's another one over here. There's 4 of them around, and they were basically giant air shocks that in the event of a attack, the crew quarters, and below this is another level, which was the command center. They would be able to absorb the seismic shocks. Unfortunately, it's full of water to just down, partway down to the command center. But otherwise, he's pumped it out. He's been able to get down there, but when they put this in, basically the Air Force ended up with a big artesian well. It just fills up. The water off the mountain behind us comes through somehow through the bedrock, the water table, and fills this back up. If you can ever get it emptied, he'd like to have like a windmill or something to keep it empty, and it's basically a big well. So, pretty cool. You know, you look around going, I wonder what that went to. He figured out, well, they have a barrel stove in here. It was hooked up over there, and that went up to one of those air things, so they could, as they burning off a lot of the old plywood and stuff. What? So if you think about it, there were 13 of these missile silos around Plattsburgh, SAC Base, Strategic Air Command, in the Adirondacks into Vermont, and any of these. This one, you think about it, I'm standing in a place where back in the 60s, we had a missile. And that some people here, if that was launched, 100,000 people or more were gonna die. So my friend is trying to come up with peaceful uses for it. And there is a place around where people have taken this, theirs is dry, and they made it into a house. So they got a level with a living room, they got a upstairs, there's a outside living room, but then down below, you know, their living facilities and then their bedrooms and all that are down in here. He's trying to think of peaceful uses for this. I'm thinking atomic bed and breakfast or mushroom farm, I don't know. But it's sort of cool. This big circular room here is not connected to the walls. There is this gap. That's why this can ride up and down. There's a level below us, the command center, and out of that there is a tunnel that would go into the bottom or into, I forget how far down, in the missile silo. The missile silo itself is 180 feet deep, and I don't know how many tons of concrete went into this, and there's actually a couple different kinds of concrete here, according to my friend. So this stuff in here was injected with epoxy when it was being poured, and so it's harder, more stable. He's had people come in that have checked out these missile silos and said this one is different than the other ones, but it's one of the most intact ones they'd seen. This was actually decommissioned when they finished it. That's when they actually got the orders to decommission it. So they built it in 65, it was decommissioned 67. And when they got here, the entrance that we came in was buried. You had to dig it out and to get down into it and see what was down here. So, interesting place. Coming back out of here, we've got the first blast door there, and then there's a 90-degree angle, there's another blast door, and of course, there's no way that's moving, that's pretty much rusted in place. But if you look at these, the locking mechanism on these are very serious how this thing locked up. It's concaved, so if a blast came in, it would pull the sides in. If you did it convex, then it would push the sides out and jam it even worse. So this way it would pull in a little bit, and there was cameras. This would be a camera up in here, there would be another camera in the other spot, and that would be, if you're coming down here, you're being observed below whether or not to let you in. But one thing that's interesting is all fires, accidents, incidents cost. Report them promptly to your complex supervisor and the control center. This is on the outside of the door. So I envision somebody coming running down the stairs, banging on the door. There's a fire up there. They look it through and thanks for telling us. Well, that ends our visit to a Cold War missile silo. This one of the uses my friend was able to put it to is the Lake Placid, one of the breweries there, last year or somewhere around there, brewed, they called it Cold War Ale, and they aged it down here in the missile silo. So it's sort of cool. They have Cold War Ale built, actually, aged in a nuclear missile silo. But that ends my little tour of this place. It's pretty cool. I can't wait to come back, see what my friend's done to it. And so I'm gonna close out this video now, and so see you down the road, YouTube. Bye.